Hello students, you're welcome to today's class. My name is Adebanke and I'm your biology tutor for today's class. If you are new on this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you can get notified of any videos, tutorial videos that will be uploaded. Alright, so let's get into today's activity. So join me as we go through GCE Biology questions. Question 1. Which of the following organelles is responsible for the synthesis of lipids in animal cells? The question is simply asking that which of these organelles listed in this option is solely responsible for synthesis of lipid, for lipid synthesis in animal cells. So we have option A to be ribosome, B smooth endoplasmic reticulum, C rough endoplasmic reticulum. So the option that is responsible for lipid synthesis rather, is smooth endoplasmic reticulum, while ribosome is responsible for protein synthesis. So the correct answer is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Question 2. The process by which a plant loses water through its stomata is known as, in a plant leaf, there are pores like holes in the leaves, which is known as stomata. So this is responsible for water entering and loss of water. So the process by which a plant loses water through its stomata is known as option A says respiration, B transpiration, C osmosis, D translocation. So looking at the option, well, the correct answer here is transpiration. Transpiration is the process by which water, like by which plants loses water in form of water vapor. Yeah. So just to balance the water in plants. So the process is known as transpiration. That's evaporation of water, and it happens mainly during dry season. So the correct answer is B, transpiration. Question 3. Which of the following best explains why enzymes are specific in their action? So the question is asking which of the following in this option listed is why enzymes are specific in their action. Enzyme needs for any action to take place, then there's the need of the substrate to bind with the active site. So let's see the option. Option A, they are made of amino acids. B, they possesses active site complementary to substrate. C, they require high temperature. D, they act in acidic medium. So like I said earlier, for any catalytic action of enzyme to take place, that means the substrate has to bind with active site, just like you having a key trying to open a door. So you have a key in your hand, then putting it in the hole of a door. So to open the door, to close the door. So that's what the illustration actually looks like. So option B, active site complementary to substrate. That's the correct answer. B. Question 4. The correct sequence of levels of organization in living things is, so for levels of organization, we have the cell, tissue, we have organ, we have system, and to the complex parts, we have organism. So it starts from the smallest one, and cell is the basic unit of life. So the correct sequence is cell to tissue to organ, then system and organism. And we can see that option B gives the right sequence. So to cell to tissue to organ to system and organism. Option B is the correct answer. On to the next question, question 5. Which of the following is the most complex form of social behavior in animals? So which of the following of the options listed here is complex in terms of social behavior in animal? A, is it courtship, that's relationship, is it aggression, is it parental care, and D, territoriality. So the most complex form in terms is parental care because it involves you parents caring for offspring in terms of support, protection, training. Like it's a lot of multi activities, you know, that will be happening at the same time. You're trying to protect, you're trying to provide, you're trying to train offspring. So it's complex. So the correct answer C is the correct answer, parental care. The next question, question 6, says a red blood cell placed in hypertonic solution will what? So we have hypo and hyper, and in hypertonic solution, when a red blood cell is placed, so water tends to move out of the cell, a red blood cell, causing it to like shrink. So the correct answer here we have option A, shrink, B, swell, C, burst, D, remain unchanged. So the correct answer is shrink because water tends to be drawn out of the cell and it causes it to like shrink. So option A is the correct answer. Question 7. Which of these is not a characteristic of all living things? So when we have respiration, B, locomotion, C, growth, D, nutrition. So looking at the option, every living thing respirates, they breathe, they grow, they feed, that's nutrition. For locomotion, meaning of locomotion is movement, that's movement of the entire body from one place to another. So but we can say yeah, movement is part of characteristics of living thing, but movement is a bit is different from locomotion. Movement means okay, they can move, not like the entire body, but locomotion is like an extra. You move, try to go around like humans. So not every living thing move around, like move all their body. For example, plants, yeah, although they can move, grow, but they're not like moving and walking. So locomotion is the correct answer. Locomotion is not a characteristic of all plants inclusive. So B is the correct answer. Question 8. The xylem in plants is responsible for the transport of A. Water and mineral salts, B. Manufactured food, C. Hormones, D. Amino acid. So the xylem in plants, we have xylem, they are mainly for transport. We have xylem and phloem. So the xylem is mainly for transportation of water, from the road to every part of this plant. So that's the work of xylem. Why phloem is involved in transport of food. So for here, the xylem implant is responsible for the transport of, from my explanation, we can see that option A, water and mineral salt is the correct answer. So it's not involved in manufacture of food, hormones, and amino acid. So the correct answer is A, water and mineral salt. Question 9. The organ responsible for excretion in earthworm is, so which organ is mainly responsible for excretion in earthworm? We have nephridium A, option A, B, flame cell, C, malpighian tubule, D, kidney. For this one is mainly for human, malpighian tubule for insect, this flame cell for flatworm. So the correct answer here is the nephridium. This is mainly responsible for excretion in earthworm. Option A is the correct answer. Question 10. A reflex action differs from a voluntary action because, so reflex action is involuntary, is not planned, while a voluntary, you think of it, it involves you, it involves the brain first. So, but for reflex action, you are not thinking of it. So it's just from maybe the nerve impulses from spinal cord, something that happened, then your brain now processes, and it happens within seconds. So option A, it involves the brain. B, it is under conscious control. C, it does not involve the brain initially. D, it requires thinking before response. So this does not require thinking. You are not thinking of it. So and it doesn't involve it doesn't involve brain initially. So the correct answer is C. It does not involve the brain initially. The next question, question 11. In genetics, a test cross is used to a test cross A to identify a recessive trait, B determine genotype of an organism, C produce a hybrid generation, D select for a dominant character. So test cross, maybe you have a recessive gene and a homozygous and heterozygous. For example, you have something like maybe gene for short and tall. You have TT and TT. So main um the main use of this test cross, when you cross it, you kind of have this T, and just using this for example. So it's just to determine, the genotype, the genetic makeup of an organism. So that is what test cross is mainly used for. So we have option A, identify recessive trait, B, determine the genotype of an organism, C, provide a hybrid generation, D, select for a dominant character. So the correct answer here is determine genotype of an organism, option D. Question 12. Which of the following blood cells carry oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart? So the blood vessel that is responsible for carrying oxygenated from lungs to the heart is mainly the vein. So we have A, pulmonary artery, B, pulmonary vein, C, aorta, D, vena cava. So the pulmonary vein is responsible for carrying oxygenated from lungs to the heart. Option B is the correct answer. Question 13. The structure responsible for gaseous exchange in a fish is so in a fish, which structure is responsible for gaseous exchange? Is it lungs, B, spiracles, C, gills, D, skin? So in fish, they make use of gills for gaseous exchange. So the structure responsible for that in fish is gills, option C. Question 14 says, in flowering plants, double fertilization results in the formation of A, zygote and cotyledon, B, zygote and endosperm, C, ovule and embryo, D, pollen tube and zygote. So in flowering plant, when you have double fertilization, you have, zygote is formed and endosperm is also formed. So that makes option B the correct answer, zygote and endosperm. Question 15. Which of the following is a function of the liver? What the liver do in the body? A, let's look at the option, production of insulin. That's not the function of the liver. It doesn't produce pancreas that is involved in that. So we have storage of glycogen, C, production of bile salts, and D, um, option B and C. So what liver does is it helps in storage of glycogen. When the body, insulin converts glucose to glycogen when you consume a carbohydrate or something sugar. So the insulin converts glucose to glycogen, and this liver helps. The function of liver is that it helps to store this glycogen, and we it also helps in production of bile salts. The bile is mainly responsible for emulsification of fat, so it helps in production of bile salts. So that makes option B and C should be the correct answer. Option D. So question 16. The main product of photosynthesis is, so what is the main product of photosynthesis? We have A to be oxygen, B glucose, C carbon dioxide, D starch. For oxygen is just like a byproduct, it's not like the main product. So the main reason why the main result from photosynthesis is to produce glucose for the plant to produce food. So CO2 is not a product, it's just involved in the starch reaction. So the main product is glucose, option B. Question 17. In ecology, a population is defined as when you see population, you are in a place, you have like group of organisms having that are like a population. You want to carry out a study, you say, okay, I'm looking at a population of these. It might be humans, it might be animals. So a population means like organisms that are like same species. So in ecology, a population is defined as group of species in a habitat, group of organisms of the same species in an area, community of organisms, association of producers and consumers. So population is group of organisms that are alike. So that means option B, the correct answer. Group of organisms of the same species in an area. Option B is the correct answer. Question 18. Which of the following organism is both parasitic and autotrophic? So this is like a mix. So it's a mix. We have parasitic and then it also produces its food. So we have A. Ivlena, B. Tapeworm, C. Amoeba, D. Mushroom. So the organism that have this mix characteristics of being parasitic and also producing its own food, autotrophic, is Ivlena. Option A is the right answer. Question 19. The fluid part of blood that contains dissolved substances in a blood, there's this part that's, the fluid that has dissolved substance is especially maybe when the blood settles or maybe your centrifuge, your spin. So you have it gets separated. So the one that is like a clear something like that's different from the blood and it contains dissolved oxygen. It contains dissolved substances is is this serum, plasma, nerve, cytoplasm. So the correct answer is plasma. Plasma contains a whole lot of dissolved substance, hormones, it contains a lot. So the plasma is the correct answer. Question 20. The organ of balance in human is located in, so the organ of balance is located in A. Cerebellum, B. Cochlea, C. Semicircular canal, D. Medulla. So this organ in human is located in the semicircular canal, that's in the ear. So that's the organ of balance. Option C is the correct answer. Question 21. Which of these is a structural habitation of desert for desert plants? No desert, no, there's low rainfall, places dry. So how do these plants survive so they don't die of loss of maybe lack of access to water? So how do they survive? They have to one way by these plants by which these plants survive is they tend to have a thick back so that there won't be loss of too much water in form of transpiration, loss evaporation of water from the plant, so the plant doesn't get so dry and eventually dies off. So we have A, large broad leaves, B, presence of thick cuticle, C, shallow roots, D, high stomatal density. So the adaptive mechanism or survival mechanism by which desert plants survive is presence of thick cuticle. Option B. Next question 22 says, which of the following statements about the mammalian heart is correct? So let's look at the statement. The left ventricle pumps blood to the lungs. B. The right ventricle pumps blood to the lungs. C. The right atrium receives blood from the lungs. D. The left atrium pumps blood to the body. So which of these about mammalian heart the mammalian heart is mainly the right ventricle that pump blood to the lungs. So looking at this, option B is the correct statement here about mammalian heart. The right ventricle pump blood to the lungs. Option B. Question 23. The type of nutrition exhibited by fungi is, we have A. Holophytic, B. Parasitic, C. Holozoic, D. Saprophytic. So the type of nutrition that is exhibited by fungi feed on dead organic matter, and that is a saprophytic mode of nutrition. D is the right answer. Question 24. In males, crossing over occurs during, so the crossing over occurs at the initial stage when there's a stage when there's genetic exchange. So, and that is A, prophase 1, B, metaphase 1, C, anaphase 2, D, telophase 1. So that genetic exchange um, process occurs in prophase 1. Option A is the correct answer. Question 25. Which of the following is a function of ribosome? Ribosome, they are involved in synthesis of protein. So which of these is the correct answer? Energy production, no. That is the function of mitochondria. D, lipid storage. C, protein synthesis. D, DNA replication. So the correct function of ribosome is the help to produce protein, to synthesize protein. So C, protein synthesis, is the correct answer. Question 26. In which of the plant cell is chlorophyll found? Does chlorophyll is found in the leaf area, so, and chloroplast actually. So A, mitochondrion, B, nucleus, C, chloroplast, D, vacuole. So the correct answer here is chloroplast. So chloroplast is part of the plant cell in which chlorophyll is found. Question 27. Which of the following hormones regulate water balance in human? So X to like balance water. A, insulin, B, antidiuretic hormone, C, adrenaline, D, tyrosine. So the hormone responsible for water balance is antidiuretic hormone. Option B, ADH, is the correct answer. Question 28. The mode of reproduction in amoeba is, in amoeba, the, that involves binary, that's division, cell division, producing the same offspring. So A, binary fission, B, multiple fission, C, body deconjugation. So the mode of reproduction in amoeba is binary division of cells, binary fission. Option A is the correct answer. Question 29. Which of the following processes releases energy in cell? So which of these processes, it doesn't make use of energy in the process, it is at the end that it releases energy, and that process is respiration. So we have photosynthesis, option A, B, transpiration, C, respiration, D, fermentation only. So the process that releases energy in cell is respiration. Option C. Question 30. A person with blood group AB can receive blood from, where the blood group AB is a um, universal acceptor, let me put it like that. So it can receive blood from any any blood group. So the correct answer. So we have A, group O only, B, group A and B only, all blood groups, D, group AB only. So the person with blood group AB can receive blood from all blood groups. They are known as universal acceptor. So the correct answer is option C. So now we have come to the end of today's class. I hope you find the video interesting. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. If you have any question, make sure you drop them in the comment section below. And see you in the next class.
Hi, I'm sure you enjoyed the content you just watched. To see more episodes as that, preparing you for your oncoming exams, smash the subscribe button on this channel right now and visit the playlist that we've made for you, covering over 50 type of different exams, including JAMB, WAEC, Cacao, NEET,